The sight stirred an ache in her chest, the juxtaposition between her professional ambitions and the demands of motherhood rising again. She placed Andrew's card on the counter, the ambition it represented somehow overshadowed by the tenderness of the scene before her. As her children wriggled into their pajamas, Sarah found herself retreating into her own thoughts. When had she allowed her dreams to lie so dormant? The question was one she had avoided for too long. Helping children find their way was needed, but in the recesses of her heart, she knew she had lost her own direction. Perhaps Andrew sensed something within her, something that could flourish if only she dared to delve into it. After tucking her children into bed, she perched on the couch, the distraction of the television dimming to a murmur as her mind drifted. The mentorship opportunity tugged at her restlessly, each moment alone forcing her to confront the fear of stepping not only into an unfamiliar space, but into a version of herself that had lain hidden. With a resolute push, she grabbed her laptop, fingers poised over the keyboard. She wouldn't let inertia spiral anymore. The screen illuminated her face as she began to research graphic design workshops, mentorship programs, anything that could light a path towards a future she had meticulously buried. The seeds of possibility began to take root, but uncertainty mingled with excitement, a blend she couldn't shake off. As she mapped out her aspirations, the look of her children flashed in her mind, fueling her resolve. She could show them that ambition and love weren't mutually exclusive. They could carry her forward, each achievement a testament to the struggles she faced. Her phone rang, jolting her from her trance. It was Andrew, curious to know about her decision. He didn't just offer mentorship. He represented a doorway to a realm where her identity as an artist could be resurrected. Taking a deep breath, she answered, her voice steady even as her heart raced. She would finally confront her aspirations head-on. "I've been thinking about your offer," she began, feeling an exhilaration coursing through her. But before she could say more, a knock at the door interrupted their conversation. An unexpected visitor and an uninvited entanglement that threatened to unravel everything she had spent the evening building. What awaited her on the other side could shatter her burgeoning confidence or cement her resolve to rise. In the hushed moments before she opened the door, Sarah felt a surge of conflicting emotions, each a fierce contender fighting for dominance. Hope battled doubt like weighty wrestlers in her mind. She had committed to Andrew's mentorship, a step into her long-suppressed artistic aspirations. Yet the presence of a visitor seemed to disrupt her equilibrium, like a stone thrown into still water, creating ripples of uncertainty. Swallowing hard, she turned the knob and swung it open. Então, não seria esta a verdade? Uma verdade contundente. "Don't they deserve at least?" She cut him off, the rising tide of frustration reaching its limit. "We're not doing this here." The moment hung in the air, thick and unyielding. She needed to reclaim her voice, but the "we" he spoke of weighed heavily on her. She had spent years developing a new sense of identity apart from him, a fragile but fierce rebirth of her artistic self. Torn between the past and this new ambition, uncertainty crowded her thoughts. "Let me show you." Sarah's mind darted back to Andrew's message. Perhaps he was right, and the path ahead could be illuminated by distinction and the courage to claim her own dreams. "I'm giving a presentation next week at the local art studio. I want you to come." Mark blinked, as if her words had taken root where conflict had dominated. A presentation? Yes, brought about by a mentorship I started. Sarah spoke, noting his slight shift in interest, a glimmer of intrigue breaking through the disapproval. It's about finding balance, of personal growth amid life's messiness. And it's about time we both acknowledge that we're imperfect people trying to figure this life out. Is that really all it is for you? The edge returned to his voice, skepticism creeping in. What do you mean? It's not just about the kids, is it? You're on a whole different path now. His eyes held a challenge, as if daring her to admit a truth. The walls of doubt pressed close again. Was she really prepared to pull Mark into this journey? Would sharing her artistic ambitions requite her with peace, or only dredge up more unresolved discontent? Taking a moment to breathe and decode the heart of her motivations, she quickly realized that denying a potential avenue of growth would serve neither of them. "I want you to understand," she finally said, steeling herself. "I need to pursue this, whatever this is becoming, for myself. It's time for me to take the first steps as an artist, even if those steps are uncertain." Mark studied her, the weight of their history palpable between them. In that silence, Sarah saw the delicate balance of vulnerability and brave possibility. The next few days would determine how she defined her identity moving forward. As she returned to her laptop, the flicker of creativity sparked again. Maybe it was possible to carve out room for her ambitions, even amidst the messy tenacity of family. Each keystroke felt like a declaration, each word leading her closer to self-discovery. Just then, another notification blinked into existence, a message from Andrew inviting her to meet in person. "Are you ready to leap into the unknown?" it read, echoing the unspoken question she pored over for herself. The prospect of possibly assembling her life anew weighed heavily on her mind, a tantalizing balance between risk and reward. As the echoes of Mark's fragile redemption whispers beckoned, she knew one clear truth: the tightrope was growing thinner. Would she step forward or retreat back into familiarity? The answer lingered tantalizingly ahead, waiting for her to seize it. Would she have the courage to leap? The decision weighed on Sarah, a heavy stone nestled deep in her gut. Should she respond to Andrew right away, or give herself time to process this new potential? The clicking of her fingers against the keyboard formed a rhythm, one that echoed her heartbeat as she drafted a reply. Before she could hesitate, she hit send, her pulse quickening with each passing second. "Meeting today at 3, the text notification read. Just like that, it was real, an appointment that promised raucous possibilities, but could also drag her back into old patterns. She thrust herself away from her work table, breathing in the fragrant aroma wafting in from the kitchen. Comfort recipes inflected with nostalgia beckoned to her, but she shook the thoughts away, wrestling with the notion of retreating into the familiar comforts of home. Instead, Sarah stepped outside, drawn to the brisk air that whipped at her skin, urging her to engage with the world. The treetops danced in the wind, the leaves swirling like thoughts clawing for attention. Each gust felt like a new direction, and with it came a sense of urgency. She needed to claim her aspirations without looking over her shoulder. Her determination to embrace uncertainty coursed through her veins as she wandered to the local coffee shop where she had a sticky note plastered on the community board. Scanning the modest cafe, Sarah caught sight of familiar faces, people who needed her to be there. She had built a space where creativity thrived, an oasis in her life's chaotic landscape. But now she held the key to transform that sanctuary, not just for herself, but for others who aspired to break free of their confines. Then Andrew entered, confidence wrapped around him like a well-tailored suit. He approached her table, a smile brightening his expression. It was as if the energy shifted. Her heart thudded loudly as she faced him. "Glad we could meet," he exclaimed, pulling up a chair. "Thanks for making the time," she replied, gripping her coffee cup tightly, the ceramic warming her hands. She noticed how approachable but firm he was, qualities she found thrilling yet unnerving. "I'm really inspired by your journey," he said, leaning forward. "I've seen the flyer you placed on the board. Your message resonates. It's about more than just art, isn't it?" He was probing, and she felt a current of possibility weaving through the conversation. "Yes," Sarah replied, captivated by his interest. "It's about transformation. I want to help others unlock their own creativity through their struggles." "Sounds like you've discovered your voice," he encouraged. Her heart fluttered at his recognition. This moment marked a pivot point. Responsibilities no longer overshadowed her ambition. Andrew leaned back, evaluating her. "You have potential, Sarah. People in this community are ready for someone like you, someone who's traversed through adversity. Your experience could be a beacon." With every word he spoke, the air felt thicker around them. It was more than just validation. It was as though he illuminated paths she hadn't dared to consider. "What if," she ventured, her thoughts racing ahead, "what if I wanted to reach beyond just this community?" "Exactly. Expand it. Your art can echo much broader than this cafe." His enthusiasm was contagious, and Sarah felt embers of passion ignite within her chest. The dreams that had flickered to life were swelling into a flame. How many more people were ready to join this journey? The question tethered her to a sense of purpose. She envisioned workshops, a collaborative space where creativity flourished and people transformed their lives not just through art, but through shared experiences. Yet even as daylight illuminated this vision, doubt still lurked. Mark's pleas echoed softly in the back of her mind. Could she pursue this bold new route while navigating the complexities at home? A quick glance at Andrew told her he was waiting for her answer. Would she articulate this new ambition with honesty? A jolt of risk coursed through her veins again as the stakes elevated. "Let's make this happen," she declared, a definitive shift sparking inside her. "Let's build a platform for those who have been held back, empower them to declare their dreams." A broad smile broke across Andrew's face, his palpable excitement matching her own. "Let's brainstorm. I know some people who could help." As they began discussing a potential roadmap, Sarah felt the old weight of her past start to dissolve, like mist under the warmth of the sun. With each new idea, she disentangled herself from Mark's shadow, confidently embracing the vibrant possibilities that lay ahead. However, when she returned home later that day, amidst the promising energy of her meeting, she was met with an unexpected silence. The familiar hum of routines was drawn out. Only the faint echo of Mark's earlier pleas remained. "Sarah?" His voice broke through the quiet, filled with question and concern. "Are you okay?" In that moment, she realized the two paths before her: pursue her artistic journey or re-enter the complexities of her relationship. Would she remain tethered by doubt or leap into the unpredictability of personal ambition? The question lingered, threatening to rewrite her narrative yet again. Would she find a way to juggle both, or would one path inevitably claim her? The weight of the choices pressed upon her, demanding an answer that felt closer than ever, yet still achingly distant. Sarah's heart pounded as she stepped into her home, each footfall echoing against the walls that had long felt both comforting and confining. The silence amplified her internal conflict, urging her to address the gnawing doubts within. Mark's concern flickered in the eye like a candle struggling against the winds of change. The darkness and light clawed at her spirit, each begging for attention. "Sarah?" His voice pierced the stillness again, more resolute this time. "You've been distant lately. What's going on?" She sank into the couch, enveloped by its familiarity, yet it felt like an anchor dragging her down. How could she explain the intoxicating pull of ambition that had awakened her after years of stagnation? She wanted to respond, but found words were trapped somewhere between her desire and fear. She could feel the weight of Mark's gaze, seeking reassurance and clarity. "I've been thinking," she began tentatively, her voice steady but her heart racing, "about my art, about what it could mean beyond just here." The word "here" hung heavy, muting the brightness of Andrew's vision that still shimmered in her mind. Mark straightened as if her admission had set off alarms. "What are you saying? Are you ready to leave this place behind? To chase some dream that's unreal?" His skepticism dripped from his words, and she felt her chest tighten at the challenge. "It's not just a dream. It's a calling to help people express themselves, to turn their pain into something beautiful and transformative." The strength in her voice shocked her. The passion surged, ready to break through the dam she had built. "But at what cost, Sarah?" Mark's voice softened, but the tension remained. "What about us? You can't just abandon everything we've built to chase a fleeting idea." "Chase?" Her indignation flared. "This isn't a whim, Mark. I found purpose in my art, something I've been missing for far too long. I want to share that energy, to help others. If I don't try, I'll regret it forever." Silence loomed, a chasm widening between their contrasting dreams. Could they reconcile their paths? Mark's life was structured, predictable, a stark contrast to the world of ideas that peppered her mind. "You have to understand that this isn't just about my art," she pressed, feeling the fight course through her. "It's about who I can be, not just who I am." Mark rubbed his temples, visibly conflicted. "I'm afraid you'll slip away from me. I need to know you're here with me, not just reaching for something out there." Her insides twisted at his plea. Was this her moment to fight for her rightful place? Or was it selfish to pursue a path that could unravel their foundation? The more she recoiled at his fears, the louder her ambition screamed for freedom. "Please," she said, reaching across the couch to grab his hand, hoping for connection. "Can we discuss how to merge our dreams instead of pitting them against each other? I need your support to make this work. I won't abandon you, but I can't suppress this part of me anymore." Their fingers intertwined, a tentative bridge between two worlds, but doubt crept back in, threading through their connection. What does it mean for you to pursue this? Mark questioned, softening my still apprehensive. It means I'll be busy, taking risks, and sometimes it might feel like I'm circling away. But also, she hesitated, contemplating whether to reveal how deeply she needed this for herself. It means I can truly grow, and when I grow, I'll be more present in our lives. A long pause settled over them, a silent negotiation unfolding. Would her pursuit lead to their growth or fragmentation? As shadows lengthened outside, time itself felt suspended. The glow from the setting sun poured into the room, illuminating the path ahead. Would she dare to carve out her own identity and confront the balance she desperately sought? In the fading light, Sarah found herself at a crossroads that felt palpable. Her dreams flickered like candle flames, both alluring and terrifying. How could she ensure that both parts of her life could not only coexist, but thrive? As they sat on the edge of their possibilities, Mark finally exhaled, his expression commingling courage and caution. If this is truly what you want, then maybe we can work through this together. Her heart soared, yet one thought clawed at her mind. What would happen if she committed to this path only to lose herself in the process? Their future rested delicately in the balance, and with every moment the stakes intensified. "Let's take the first step," she whispered, but the echo of uncertainty returned like a distant thunder, reminding her that clarity was yet to come. What would be the shape of this collaboration? Would it forge a new union, or would clarity cost her the connection she cherished? As Sarah contemplated the emerging answers, she felt one truth burn brighter than the rest. The journey was only just beginning. The morning sun streamed through the apartment window, illuminating the remnants of a shared dream. Sarah leaned against the countertop, sipping her coffee, the aroma curling into her senses and grounding her, albeit momentarily. Mark's presence lingered an arm's length away, silently admitting his fears. Today was pivotal. She could feel it wafting through the air like the scent of her paints. Her internal monologue whirled incessantly. What did it mean to truly grow? Who would she ultimately become, stepping into the ambiguity of her aspirations? With every pulse of her heart, she felt the weight of expectations, hers, Mark's, and those from within. The fear of disappointment threatened to dampen her enthusiasm, but lingering doubt mutated into determination. As she restlessly shifted her gaze to the various artistic pieces sprawled across the living room, a canvas here, a sketch pad there, each represented a flicker of potential. Yet she questioned their worth in the overarching tableau of her life. Were these fragments of creativity enough to justify the risks she was about to take? With a deeper resolve ignited, Sarah committed to delving rigorously into the plans she had begun to map out. She pulled her laptop closer, her fingers dancing across a skis as she began researching workshops, art therapies, and opportunities that could harness her unique passion. Each click felt like stepping stones toward an inevitable leap. A call from an unexpected number broke her focus. She answered, and to her surprise, it was a renowned art organization interested in her work. We want to invite you to showcase your pieces at a review next month. Would you be interested?" The words, crisp and electrifying, enveloped her like a warm embrace. "Yes!" she exclaimed, before the voice could offer more details. As the reality settled in, she felt an electric current coursing through her, igniting a pool of excitement. This was her moment, to leap into the unknown and embrace the artist waiting to be unleashed. But with each heartbeat, doubt began to rise like an unwelcome specter. Could she balance this newfound endeavor with the life she and Mark had built? Taking a deep breath, Sarah transformed the energy of her anxiety into a plan. She would dedicate specific hours to her endeavors, pursuing the art she longed to share, while setting aside time for Mark. Exhausted but teeming with ambition, she reached for her phone to schedule dinner, a reminder that there still existed a world beyond her creative pursuit. As she approached Mark later that evening, a warm smile appeared on his face, drawing her in. They swallowed their meal unhurriedly, the air thick with both threads of comfort and tension. What Alexis wanted versus what Mark envisioned loomed like a dark cloud over their tête-à-tête. "Exciting day?" he asked, managing an encouraging grin. "Actually, yes," she confessed, a shiver of apprehension washing over her. Mark's expression shifted, a mixture of pride and worry. "That's great, Sarah, but do you think you can manage that alongside everything else?" A sharp pang pierced her heart. His skepticism echoed her own. The balance was pivotal. "I plan to be strategic about it. I want this to work for both of us." Her voice trembled slightly, betraying the anxious undercurrents grasping her insides. "What if it takes more than you anticipate?" he challenged gently, skepticism lacing his words. She hesitated, weighing her conviction against the reality of the demands she would inevitably face. "Then I'll figure it out. I want this for you too, for us, to thrive independently while growing together." His silence weighed heavily between them, but something in his gaze shifted, pondering the idea of their lives evolving in parallel rather than opposition. This wasn't simply about Sarah being an artist, it was about establishing a life in which they both belonged. Yet an uncurbed urgency gnawed at her as she drifted into the evening, eager to pen her plans and sketch the contours of her dream. The vibrant colors of her aspirations and the soft hues of their shared moments blended on the canvas of her mind. In her haze of ambition and uncertainty, a worrisome thought emerged: how far she could push herself for growth without harming her connection with Mark. As she crafted her first post for social media, ready to announce her venture, her heart raced. The stakes were rising, and with every brushstroke of decision, she neared the precipice. Would this bold step spark a transformation or unravel everything she cherished? With a deep breath, she pressed share and watched the words flicker on the screen. It felt liberating, but the gnawing question lingered. Would they emerge as stronger individuals or as strangers weaved apart by ambition? What awaited her on this path she had only just begun to chart? The excitement coursed with tension, the juxtaposition of new possibilities colliding with age-old fears. As the day faded into night, Sarah knew this was only the beginning. Yet she felt the pull of fate looming. What unforeseen challenge would her path unveil? Sarah awoke to a whirlwind of thoughts, the shadows of morning blurring her dreams with the reality that awaited her. The sunlight poured into the studio, illuminating the half-finished canvases and sketches piled around her. Each piece was a mirror, reflecting her internal conflict, vibrant aspirations, and creeping doubts. Today represented a pivotal moment. It was the day she would meet with her mentor, Lucille, to discuss not just her art, but her path, a roadmap that now felt thrillingly uncertain. She had hardly slept, her mind racing with worries about whether she genuinely possessed the talent to showcase her work. Yet, beneath the anxiety was a fierce desire to prove herself, to test the limits of her ambition. Could she accept vulnerability as part of her journey? Donning a simple outfit that felt empowering against her skin, Sarah made her way to the cafe called The Canvas, where she'd meet Lucille. The anticipation bubbled within her, yet lazily intertwined with fear. Would this seasoned artist see promise in her work, or simply highlight its flaws? As she stepped into the dimly lit cafe, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her, instantly calming her frayed nerves. She spotted Lucille, an elegant woman with an artistic presence marked by her colorful attire and graceful demeanor. Her mere presence was intimidating, yet it ignited a flicker of hope. "Sarah," Lucille greeted warmly, pulling her into a supportive embrace. "I'm so eager to see what you've created." Sarah smiled, her heart racing. The conversation flowed easily, yet the reality of sharing her art nested uncomfortably at the pit of her stomach. Finally, the moment arrived as they settled into a booth, the table adorned with sketches and samples of her current pieces. "Let's look at your works," Lucille urged, a glimmer of excitement lighting her eyes. As Sarah unfolded her creations, a wave of vulnerability overcame her. She explained the thoughts and emotions behind each brushstroke. Lucille listened intently, occasionally nodding, and her expressions fluctuated between intrigue and contemplation. "How do you feel about showcasing this?" Lucille asked, lifting one of the vibrant canvases that depicted Sarah's emotional journey. Sarah hesitated, her voice trembling slightly. "I want to, but what if I'm not good enough? What if it disappoints everyone?" Lucille leaned closer, her gaze steady and reassuring. "Every artist shares those fears, but true growth lies in embracing risk. It's in the uncertainty that your truest self emerges." As those words sank in, Sarah felt them echo her inner resolve. Lucille's investment in her potential countered her doubts, illuminating the path before her. "Are you ready to step into your role as an artist?" Lucille continued. "It's not simply about success or failure. It's about your authentic expression and connection with others." The validation struck a chord deep within Sarah. Yes, she had to struggle. Yes, she may face criticism. But it was a risk worth taking, fueled by her passion and the genuine desire to contribute her voice to the art world. After hours of constructive feedback, Lucille firmly placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Remember, the art community thrives on diversity and authenticity. Do not shy away from who you are." Leaving the cafe felt surreal. Empowered yet hesitant, Sarah contemplated the convergence of her dream with the realities of her relationship with Mark. Her fears about balancing ambition and love swirled in her mind like unseparated colors on her palette. She wanted to be an artist, but how would that affect the life they had built together? As she walked home, she thought about the next steps. Perhaps she would invite Mark to be part of the process, to help him understand her vision. Opening a dialogue might not ease the tension, but could potentially bridge the distance she sensed growing between them. Arriving home, Sarah found Mark delicately working on his own project. She watched him for a moment, noting the arc of concentration on his face. He looked up and smiled as she entered, and that simple connection settled a flutter of anxiety in her chest. "Lucille believes my work is worthy of showcasing," she said, the excitement spilling over like paint from an overturned tube. He nodded, though the flicker in his eyes hinted at lingering concerns. "That's amazing, Sarah, but how will that fit with what we're building together?" His question echoed the concern she had wrestled with all day. "I need to figure that out," she admitted, with a subtle conviction forming in her voice. "But I want you alongside me. This journey isn't just mine, it's ours." As Sarah proposed her vision, she felt the sparks of her passion light the way forward. Yet something more pulsed behind her eager plans, an underlying fear that deepened into an uncomfortable truth. Would they stand united, or would ambition drive a wedge between their intertwined paths? With uncertainty looming, Sarah prepared to confront the most pivotal question of her journey. Was she ready to embrace the challenge ahead, not only for herself, but for them both? Walking into the vibrant chaos of her studio the next day, Sarah let the hum of her creativity envelop her. Brushes lay scattered like discarded thoughts, and the air was thick with the intoxicating scent of paint. Today was the day she would begin to articulate her vision, not just for herself, but for her relationship with Mark. Lucille's words echoed in her mind. Her responsibility was not just to create, but to foster connections through her art. As she picked up her brush, Sarah felt the weight of those connections press upon her. She had always interpreted her relationship with Mark as support, but now she questioned if he genuinely understood the urgency of her artistic journey. The studio transformed, colors blending and swirling as she poured her anxiety onto the canvas. Each stroke bled her uncertainties, giving physical form to the dialogue she so desperately needed to have with Mark. The painting began to resemble a storm, a tempest of emotions that mirrored her turbulent heart. As she painted, she experienced a revelation. Vulnerability was not just a shared burden, it was an avenue to deeper intimacy. If she could accept her fears openly, perhaps so could Mark. Magic and fear danced together in the thick air of her studio, and Sarah realized she could extend that trust beyond her art. Paint-stained and exhilarated, she took a break, allowing herself to step back and breathe. The chaos slowed, and she began to plan the conversation with Mark. How could she convey the importance of this moment without sounding like she was abandoning him? It was vital to include him, not just as a supporter, but as an integral part of her creative journey. Eventually, Sarah prepared for the conversation, her heart drumming in her chest. In that moment, she realized she needed to leap, to bear not just her ambitions, but her fears as well. She envisioned a dialogue, one filled with honesty, laughter, and maybe even tears. It would be a dance of understanding that would either bind them together or reveal their very different paths. When Mark arrived home for dinner that evening, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. As he settled into his chair, she wondered if he would see her messy, paint-streaked hands as a sign of commitment to her craft, or as evidence of neglect. "Can we talk?" she asked, finding courage in her voice despite the butterflies in her stomach. "About what?" he replied, concern flashing in his eyes. With a deep breath, Sarah launched into their shared space. "I need you to know how much this art means to me. Lucille believes in me, and I want to pursue this seriously, but I feel like..." Você está no meio de uma frase-pensamento. Mantenha o ritmo e a força vocal, sem quebrar a conexão. Haja como se estivesse transmitindo uma verdade fundamental. The gallery buzzed with the chatter of friends, family, and curious strangers, all eager to witness this unveiling. But as Sarah caught a glimpse of Mark's supportive smile among the crowd, the knot in her stomach loosened and resolve pounded within her. Together, they would tread carefully through the chaos. Together, they would embrace growth. As attendees moved closer to her pieces, Sarah felt a mix of pride and vulnerability wash over her. Each brushstroke represented not just creativity, but layers of complexity. The struggles of motherhood, the urgency of her career shift, and the yearning to balance both ambitions and affection. And here she was, standing on the precipice of acceptance, ready to articulate the fullness of her journey in front of a crowd. As the audience gathered, Mark took her hand, giving her a reassuring squeeze. His support felt like a warm affirmation, washing away her doubts momentarily. When it was time for her to speak, she stepped forward, her heart pounding in rhythm with the pulsing music in the background. "Thank you all for coming today," she began, her voice shaky yet steady, each word grounding her as she spoke. "Each piece here is not just an artwork, it is a chapter of my story. This journey has taught me the significance of vulnerability, of sharing and connecting." She looked directly at Mark, and a soft smile traced her lips. "And it isn't solely my journey, it's our journey, through parenting, through moments of laughter and chaos. In finding my voice as an artist, I also find strength to express our shared dreams. But the road has not been without its struggles. Navigating the layers of love and ambition requires bravery, a dialogue of openness, and commitment." As she spoke, Sarah glanced at the audience, their attention unwavering, reflecting understanding and empathy. Here she stood, no longer hidden beneath the weight of others' expectations, but living boldly in her truth. With each unveiling, she felt the confidence surge, a recognition of her own competence in the artistry she cultivated. When she finished, applause erupted like the pop of vibrant colors on her canvas. Mark's eyes sparkled with pride, and for the first time, Sarah felt a genuine affirmation of her endeavors, not just as an artist, but as a partner, a mother, and a co-creator of their lives. Within the intimacy of the evening, as she conversed with guests about her pieces, she encouraged them to share their own stories. The open space of the gallery transformed into a haven of personal reflection, connecting people through shared experiences of ambition and vulnerability. A true celebration of growth. Once the evening concluded, Sarah's heart brimmed with satisfaction. Mark approached her, and they embraced. The quality of their connection solidified. "You were amazing," he said, his voice soft, yet filled with unwavering admiration. "Thank you," she replied, wonder infusing her tone.